CM Punk is getting ready for a big in-ring return. At least that's what it looks like. We know he'll be in the ring for Heels on the Stars Network. We have details about how Punk is feeling, getting ready to wrestle in front of a TV camera. Now, is he going to be doing that anywhere else besides the scripted TV show? Oh, we'll get into all that on today's Sportskeeda Wrestling Top Story of the Day, baby. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. What's up, everybody? I am Kellam. That is Jose G. Jose was at Monday Night Raw last night. We'll get some thoughts in about that. We got news about the tension that is backstage at WWE NXT. We have news about CM Punk, the most talked about man in the world of wrestling. And I have something for you to do right now. If you're watching, share the link. Share the link with your wrestling buddies. Maybe you want to post it on your wall. Maybe you want to tweet it out. Maybe you want to put it on your Instagram story. Whatever you want to do, do it. Do it. Starsky & Hutch references. That's right. We're doing 2004 mid-level comedy references. We got people yelling, watch out at the beginning of the show. I like that. Some people following the different things here. They're saying, thank goodness that Jose is back on the show. So if you're with us every weekday, we do this right around 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure your notification's on. Best way to do that is to know exactly when we go live is to subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn your notifications on so you know exactly when we're live. And we have some really cool stuff. We're going to tease something really cool. A big interview with someone who got laid out last night on Monday Night Raw. We'll have a preview of our big interview with Riddle coming up in today's show. So don't go anywhere. We'll have that coming up here. So let's jump into our lead story here. CM Punk is the most talked about man in wrestling. I would say that is not an understatement. I don't think there's anyone in wrestling who's getting more conversations right now about him than CM Punk. We've learned something about his role in the upcoming show Heels. They're doing a red carpet premiere for that today. And this show comes out later this week on the Stars Network. I don't have Stars. Do you have Stars on your cable system?
I don't have Stars, but I think I just might subscribe to the Stars app and pay like the $5 a month for it.
Just to watch the show.
Just to watch this show. Because first, I am a huge Steve Amell fan. I love him in Arrow. And I know he has a really good relationship with Punk. So I'm interested to see what Punk does on the series, because I think he is featured in the series. But I want to see how he looks in there. I know he's been doing a ton of horror movies. CM Punk has been, but this is a different role. Not only that he's portraying a wrestler or being part of a wrestling company, but just to kind of like see what he does on camera. And Stephen Amell kind of took to it too. But yeah, man, we got an update today from Fightful Select that said that CM Punk received praise for the in-ring chaining that he did for the heel show. So looks like he's in full gear ahead. This is actually further confirming what we got going on with, especially when it comes to CM Punk's return to pro wrestling, coming into AEW. So I think this is great. I think I'm finally starting to get convinced about this.
I am as well. I think the show looks really, really cool. If you haven't seen the trailer for it, go seek it out. It looks like kind of like if you like Glow on Netflix.
Oh, I love Glow.
And I really enjoy Glow, but Glow was like less of a wrestling show. Like wrestling was a very small
the
part
last
of the
season.
show. The last season. And the first season was more just like, hey, let's spend half the season training them how to wrestle, and it hurts them. But this show is about an independent wrestling organization. And it's very melodramatic. If you like CW style shows that Stephen Amell's from, he's from the Arrow show. It was one of the biggest CW shows. Kind of melodramatic.
Don't knock it, bro. See,
I'm not knocking it. Supernatural, that show ran for like 17 years. Those shows have like really diehard audiences, just like wrestling has its own diehard audience that feels separate from a lot of other things that are going on in pop culture. The tone of the show looks really cool, and it's also worth noting that Cody Rhodes is involved in the show. So, I mean, the threads connect themselves. Stephen Amell was on the first AEW show, the pilot episode, All In. I saw him wrestle at that show against Christopher Daniels. And he wrestles in WWE, so he does have some loose connections here. All of it points to CM Punk and AEW. That's what we've known for weeks. And it seems like the destination is August 20th in Chicago at the United Center. Do you see this being one of the biggest wrestling stories of the year? Because it feels like it's going to be.
If it happens, it will be the biggest story of the year when it comes to pro wrestling. Absolutely, by far. I mean, everyone that's followed CM Punk throughout these last 10 years know on what conditions CM Punk left the company in. It wasn't a good relationship. Those bridges were burned for a very, very long time, and they still may be burned to this day. And everybody knows what happened there. We all know what happened between Colt and CM Punk as well later on. This whole court battle back and forth. So all the stuff that happened, it didn't end. It left a lot of people with a sour taste in their mouth back then. Maybe this is a redemption of not just coming back into pro wrestling, but people are just really excited to hear this name, CM Punk.
And maybe, it's this Star show sounds really awesome. Like, if this was just the only wrestling thing he did again, I'd be really into this idea,
Absolutely.
Because it'd be the perfect marriage of what he's been doing since really the most successful thing he's done since he left WWE is performing these films.
Absolutely.
Girl on the Third Floor was a pretty creepy movie, that he got to be involved with. And
did you like it? I haven't watched. I've only seen like clips of it. Did you check the full movie out?
I haven't seen it, but I've talked to enough horror fanatics who have. It was one of those things where I didn't have Netflix. I could change my credit card, and by the time I figured out why is my Netflix not working? And I spent so much time watching wrestling anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I gotta actually watch some movies or something like that. I went back and it was off Netflix. I felt stupid. If that pops up on Shudder, I have that horror streaming service. I'll definitely check.
Shudder's good. They got some good stuff on there.
Well, worth it there. It is an interesting time. We are just waiting for the arrival of CM Punk, and I know people are going to be very, very jazzed about it. Yeah. But it is also worth noting that we're not too far away from SummerSlam. SummerSlam is going to be in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. You'll be there with our very own Rick Ucchino on the ground. We'll be providing a lot of exclusive content that week. We'll be doing a lot of live things as well. We're going to hammer out those plans. So if you are diehard viewers of Sportskeeda Wrestling, you are really going to enjoy what we have.
We got a lot of stuff for you guys.
And we have a lot of stuff there. Let's jump into the current sentiment in WWE heading into SummerSlam. Now, a month or so ago, it was very exciting. There was releases, but now there's been more releases. So now there's kind of a sour tone on a lot of different things. You were at Monday Night Raw last night. What was the sentiment amongst fans? Were people talking about these releases? Another batch of them during Friday Night SmackDown this past week?
Well, to be completely honest, I didn't hear people talking about, I can't believe this person got released or anything like that. But you can tell that the entire WWE universe knows what's going on, right? For example, during the Alexa Bliss and Doudrop match, the entire arena erupted and we want Wyatt. And you got this guy to thank for that. Me and Rico and myself, we started just yelling it on the top of our lungs. 5 seconds later, it was just roaring around the arena. It lasted for about 20, 30 seconds. It wasn't very long. It didn't overtake the show like some CM Punk chants have done in the past. However, it's very noticeable. Now, we also had, during commercial break, there was a promo for the Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold and Mick Foley, and they were talking about their favorite superstars, and The Fiend happened to pop up, and he got a huge pop just from that promo, which is outdated because now we know that Bray is not part of the company. But just to show that little piece of, promo footage, have a crowd pop for that, that means something. So I think the WWE universe is trying to be vocal enough that with their displeasure of them releasing Bray Wyatt.
It's gonna be going on for a while. I wonder what SummerSlam's gonna be like. Because you're going to have a really diehard audience going to travel out for that. They still bought their tickets. I don't think they're going to throw away their tickets for SummerSlam, but I do think they're going to let their voices be heard at the show.
They will. I think they will. So, and especially if we're going to get some international fans for this particular event, it may get pretty rowdy. But it also should be noted, Kevin, that immediately after Bray Wyatt had gotten released, he had changed his handle on Twitter to his Rotunda original handle. Yeah. Now it's back to WWE Bray Wyatt. Ooh. And he dropped a really cryptic tweet this morning featuring a mask, a close-up of a mask. I don't know what it means, but I just thought that I should point that out.
What do you think it means? Break it down for me. Tell me what you think it means. Go as crazy as you want. If you guys are in the chat, if you've seen this, Tell me what you think this means.
I don't know, man. It's so cryptic. I can't even decipher what it can mean. Like, for example, like last week after his release, he put out a tweet responding to a fan with a red circle, which in Japanese means correct, insinuating that his last Firefly Funhouse appearance on Monday Night Raw, which was a Raw after WrestleMania, was in fact his goodbye speech. And he put that little red circle, which means yes in Japanese. Now, the current tweet that he has is a picture of a half of a mask. It looks like a Japanese
I'm gonna pull this up for
mask.
you guys on screen. You guys will be able to see this here in a minute. So
with the caption, "You can't kill it."
I gotta get the overlays.
Let me get that overlay. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So with the caption, "You can't kill it." What do you think he's trying to kill here? And what are we looking at here? Is that a fiend? Is that a monster? Is this a new incarnation of his character? It doesn't look like, you're looking at like the line work and everything. It doesn't look exactly like the Fiend mask. Maybe it's a new mask. Maybe it's a completely new character for him. Did someone try to kill it? And is that WWE? A lot of layered language. We saw this yesterday with Murphy. He put out a long, over-the-top vignette of him breaking out of a prison. Josiah Williams was involved in that, who was also a talent who worked for WWE, who was an on-screen talent, he was a wrestler. So it'll certainly be interesting to see what these post WWE superstars now going on to their next thing are teasing. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to like throw water on anyone's party. I'm not trying to like ruin your party.
Here comes Kevin. Here it comes.
Not everyone's going to AEW. That's the thing I have to say all the time.
It's going to AEW.
It's going to AEW. It's going to AEW. All Elite Wrestling is going to destroy McMahon. I want Tony Khan and a tank to go to Vince McMahon's house.
like all that ridiculous stuff. Yeah. Don't worry. I'm going to Rampage on August 20th. I'm going to hear all that stuff in person.
By the way, speaking of Buddy Murphy of yesterday's story, did you guys happen to discuss a little bit of the fan theory surrounding that video?
No. What are the fan theories surrounding the video?
So the fan theory is, and this is what I've been reading online, that actual promo vignette is interconnected with Malachi Black's promo that he did before he came into AEW. And that Malachi Black was referencing to someone by the name of Matthew in that video that he kept fighting with while he was locked up, right? So it turns out that Buddy Murphy may be using Buddy Matthews as his ring name when he comes in. So insinuating that they were having some type of a feud in the prison as well, in that asylum. So it'll be interesting enough if we do see Buddy Matthew or Murphy come into AEW and have a feud with Malachi Black. Or what if they actually align themselves, because they serve time in the same prison, right? According to the video. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting how people connect the dots there.
We have some news here in a few minutes about what is going on in WWE with these releases. What is the sentiment backstage? Specifically, as it's Tuesday and NXT is on air, and it looks like we're going to have massive changes. NXT will be a completely different show as we've seen it in the past few years in a big way. Someone who had a big career in WWE NXT is Riddle. He is a huge part of Monday Night Raw. He had obviously the most talked about portion of last night's Monday Night Raw. And our very own Raju got to talk to him. A really, really great interview. You can check it out. The whole interview is up now on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. Here's a clip.
Absolutely. I completely agree. You were a welterweight when you did MMA. Perhaps the most famous welterweight of all time, Conor McGregor, the idea of him coming to WWE has often been brought up. Do you think he'd be the right fit for WWE?
He's very small, but and he fought welterweight once. Sorry about that. He's very small, but he's Conor McGregor. The guy puts butts in seats. The guy has a mouth on him. I don't know if he would pass the PG WWE code, but I guess he could do his best. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just like Jake Paul or any of them. They all I don't know how they're doing it, but they get people talking. They're controversial. They make money with fights and drama. Conor does great at that. Jake does great at that. Honestly, in the world I'm in, I try to do the best I can with it, And do I think he'd be a good fit for WWE if he's willing to do the work and work hard and put his time in? Yes. Just like Ronda was good, just like I'm good. But if you think you're going to come in and just like collect a payday, which would probably happen, it'd be more like, like a Kane situation or another situation where a guy comes in, even if he did have the skill or could go, but only comes in for like a show or two. You know what I'm saying? But I think it'd be great for business. Connor's good, he's marketable and everything else. And but do I see it happening? It's WWE, right? Anything can happen. So
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
It's true. Pretty risky question by Rishu to throw out there at Riddle. A guy who has quite the testy relationship with UFC in his own right. Left the company under some controversial circumstances, to say the least. You can check out that full interview. It is up now on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. Go watch. Well worth it. Very, very entertaining. Some people saying, hell no, they don't want Conor McGregor in the UFC. No, they don't want to see no Notorious there. So let's talk about WWE NXT. Massive changes, over a dozen superstars released on Friday. A shocking round of releases, quite upsetting for a lot of different fans. Bronson Reed, Mercedes Martinez, Bobby Fish, just to name a few. And the word going around is that WWE wants massive changes to the NXT brand, considering they were unsuccessful in their head-to-head battle with AEW, but have still proven themselves to be quite the alternative brand within the WWE umbrella now on Tuesday nights, yet they aren't getting past a certain level in the eyes of some people. So now, people, if it's the Nick Khan issue, it isn't clear. Reportedly, this was a Vince McMahon decision to go in there and make these changes. And this is just another big batch of releases in WWE. Very upsetting. And what are the feeling right now, reportedly backstage in the WWE Performance Center, where a lot of these talents are training and trying to get on television? Maybe there's even some people that were released in this batch releases that didn't really get to have much of a presence on WWE NXT TV.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, because today Sean Ross Sapp and WrestleVotes put out tweets saying that the mood at the PC today is the tensions are running very high, to say the least. Sean Ross Sapp confirmed that by WrestleVotes, and this is coming off the heels of all the releases that happened Friday night as SmackDown is going on. Of course, over the weekend, we got some backstage news about this, saying that Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and Bruce Pritchard were the ones behind this actual release. And going back to what you were saying about NXT getting revamped, repackaged, and everything, they're wanting to make it more of a developmental type of brand again. And that the wording coming from backstage is, quote, that no more midgets, no one starting in their 30s. They want people who can be box office attractions and main characters, end quote. So everybody's tippy toe right now backstage at NXT. Who knows?
I think that's reasonable. Right?
But yeah,
I think that's reasonable to have that type of feeling. Obviously, it's a bummer. And what's going to happen at NXT? Well, here's the thing: NXT's not canceled. It's still on air. It's still a show. There's still some really talented people here, and you still have Triple H and Shawn Michaels involved in this. I don't think it's all bad. I'm trying to find the positive in this. I know that's always my take, but I do think there's also an influx now of talent that's going to be available on the independents, as the independents are going to need a lot of new names with value and drawing power. And it'll be interesting to see what a Bronson Reed can do in a GCW and an AAW. Maybe just me rooting for the hometown promotion I work for, So that's me doing it. So I do think there's some benefits to this, but I do feel for all the people involved. And what is the future of NXT? What do they make about it here? Breaking down those comments there, no more midgets. Obviously, that was the one that pissed everyone off. But I do think there is an issue with wrestling the last 10 years where bigger men are just looked down on for being big, and the more cruiserweight driven style is more the style to follow. When that's the more style to follow, it kind of becomes redundant. And so I understand some of that decision making. But releasing Bronson Reed, I just don't get, because he's such a dynamic talent and it had so many good matches. Yeah. And it's mind boggling. It doesn't make it like Bray was I don't get it. It like so much of this doesn't make sense. And then it makes you think, well, how are these people going to find their way back to WWE if they do it all? So
you're absolutely right about that. Because when you think about WWE, you think about larger than life characters: Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock.
That's the thing to note in this. They want people. They want people they think can eventually headline a WrestleMania.
Exactly. But the thing is that when you're only bringing, and I kind of get that mentality, they're not producing wrestlers. They're producing main box office attractions. That's what they're trying to produce, right? And right now we've gotten to that point where there's really not a per se big box office attraction. When you talk about like Brock Lesnar, that's a big box office attraction.
Yeah.
John Cena, he's a big box office attraction. Roman Reigns, he's getting there. He's getting there. The Rock. So I think they're trying to cultivate and make that next crop of box office attractions. And they're really just trying to make it as elite as possible. No pun intended on AEW, but you're just really trying to make NXT as elite and as, cream of the crop as possible. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get it. I don't think many other fans will get it. I don't think many other fans understood that scoop there, that part from Meltzer about starting in their 30s. Everyone just thought like anyone in their 30s is done, right? In the WWE. That is not the case. I don't think they want to start with anyone in their 30s.
Yeah, so, they don't want a rookie coming in their 30s. Like, you could be a top star in your 30s. That's fine.
I don't know if they want to recruit anyone into the company who's 35.
Yeah, like they don't want to come have me go in there and be like, yeah, you're not going to be at the top of the card. Sorry.
Yeah. So I say that as somebody who like worries about my age all the time, right? So I get it to a degree, but definitely here. Yeah, some people tell me our stream on Facebook cut off. I don't know why that would happen. So, all right. So if you're with us on YouTube, thank you guys so much for standing by. I appreciate that.
I think we're still good on my side.
All right. I was just checking there. It's definitely a stressful time. I mean, and then on top of it, we got Rampage. We got all these other shows. You know what I mean?
That starts this week. That starts this week or next week?
Rampage will start this Friday. That'll air at 9 p.m. Right after SmackDown. What do you think of that? Rampage right after SmackDown. Is that a strong play or
yeah, we're still good, man.
We're still good.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
what do you think of that play of putting Rampage on Friday nights? Because they had those Dynamites on Friday nights that I thought were like, hey, this is a tough watch. I've already watched 2 hours of SmackDown. Now you're asking me to watch another one.
I don't know. We had the NBA playoffs when that was going on, So that was one of
you knew it was temporary.
Yeah. Yes. Now that we don't have the playoffs and the Olympics are completely wrapped up, I think this will be a real number that we can see if the momentum from SmackDown will indeed carry over. Excuse me, to Rampage. Excuse my voice. I'm still recuperating from yelling, "Bring back Wyatt" or "We want Wyatt back" last night. Anyway, sorry about that.
Fight the machine. Take down the system.
Exactly. However, I don't know, man. It's I don't know how they are going to do. I'm hoping they do well. If they can break over 700, which I think they can easily. If they can break over 700, I think that's a successful night for them on a Friday night after SmackDown.
We'll see how it plays out. I mean, you're going on after the most watched show in pro wrestling right now, and it is more watched than Raw by numbers of almost 1 million some weeks, depending on what week we're talking about here. But this is a play by AEW. This is the first time where they're putting themselves on the same night as WWE every single week. And you're also going to see AEW in a while move over to TBS, which I think will be an interesting move for them. So they have to spend a lot of time marketing that, juggling a lot of plates here. You got Daniel Bryan, you got CM Punk coming in. You don't want to mess that up. Other people saying they're excited for AEW Rampage. Even more wrestling. Watch even more wrestling. So yeah,
this is the best time to be a wrestling fan, guys.
Great time, man.
It's a great time. Who would have thought 20 years ago that there would be a complete sub-bracket of media dedicated to pro wrestling? I mean, it's crazy. Like, you can't get more meta than wrestling media. I'm just saying.
when I tell people like, what's your main gig right now? I was like, I watch wrestling and I talk about it in my room, like I did when I was 15.
People still don't believe me. People still don't believe me. People still don't believe me when I tell, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm a video editor, producer, journalist.
Yeah,
talking about wrestling.
You say all those things first, and then you say,
yeah. So I could at least have some type of validity to my title.
You are valid. You are valid, Jose. You are valid.
Appreciate it.
We do the top story every weekday, as I mentioned, right in the 5 p.m. Central Hour, 6 p.m. Eastern Hour. Make sure those notifications are on so you know exactly when we go live. And if you haven't done already, go ahead and subscribe to the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. We are making that march to 20K. That is our goal this summer. Can you help us get there? Do you know a wrestling fan that wants to watch our stuff? Go ahead and sub our channel if you haven't done already on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, we have a lot of content on our YouTube channel that we're not sharing on Facebook at all. Do want to thank and applaud our video editing team at Sportskeeda Wrestling. There's a lot of like pre-produced things we do that aren't live streams. We've been doing some really, really successful top 5 videos. I got to do one that just went up that is quite ridiculous.
Congratulations on that, by the way. Over 600,000 views online.
730,000 was the last time.
Unbelievable. Congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you. And thank you to our Navaraf and Cybershack and our great video editing team for putting that together, because they help us put the script and I get to say goofy things and then it's on a screen. And so thank you for the people that share the video and really caught it on. If you haven't done already, thank you to Mr. James Espanto Fernando Tagay. Look at this. Such a good fan. He's plugging our app. If you haven't done already, you can download the Sportskeeda app. You don't have to go Googling around for wrestling news. We'd have it all for you. Just click one thing on your phone and boom, we're right there. So definitely check that out. What's going on with you, bud?
Well, tonight we're going to be checking out some NXT. Tomorrow we got the debrief. Thursday we got Weekends of Wrestling, 8 p.m. We're going to be talking about what went down this week in WWE and AEW. Make sure you subscribe to us on Weekends of Wrestling on our YouTube channel and on Facebook as well. And again, guys, if you're watching this show right now, share it in your favorite wrestling group. Tag your friends in the comment section. But more importantly, when you're watching wrestling,
yes,
what's the most important thing that they need to do, Kev?
You need to just take a deep breath. You need to take a deep breath. Maybe just step away from the Twitter and actually look at the ring and the people in the ring performing the match. And then you're gonna cheer for one guy and you're gonna boo the other guy. All right, that's why you're watching it. Because when you watch wrestling, you have to enjoy wrestling.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yes.